Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, the podcast that goes to the cinema every week, sees a couple of things, stays at home, watches a couple of things, rates them all out of 5, puts them up against each other, and sees who is winning the battle for your eyeballs. Should you go to the cinema or should you stay at home on your sofa? Would you have a better time there? My name is Tosin and I am the host, and I am usually in the middle of the United Kingdom, although this week you find me all the way in Queens, New York. Yes, that's right. I mean, I guess I could spin this and say, like, we've gone international, and I'm here on like a special deal that we've gotten with some. But no. I'm here on family business, and even though I thought originally that it was going to be one of these things where we would not be able to record this week, I looked at the time difference and realized, hang on, while all these guys are there in the UK, who I will introduce in a second. I just realized I haven't introduced any of you. So like, while they're all there in the UK at 6 o'clock, you usually record. I'm just in the middle of the day doing nothing, so we can still do it. And those people are joining me as usual on the Isle of Wight. It's Sharon Boland.
Hello.
Yes, Shaun Harris.
Hi, yeah.
Shaun, and I see that I just realized what your background is, and it's very pertinent, very pertinent to the topic of this podcast. You have like cinema, you have boxes of what the cinema thing is versus streaming. Yeah, HBO Max, which a streaming service that no longer exists, as I found out.
Yeah. So it's an old one, but anyway, it's
it's
streaming.
It just changed. It just changed to Max. And yeah, just changed to Max, and so I've been playing with American streaming platforms this week because my cousin has a subscription to Max, and yep, and also joining us is a London correspondent is Holly Neslin. Hi, Holly.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. In the sunshinyness that is London.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's actually a lot warmer in London than it is in New York. New York this morning was about 7 degrees Celsius.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah.
So only about that in London when I got up. So it is still nippy here.
Well, yeah. It is essentially I have to wear my coat. Where if I go outside, I can't go outside without my coat, which I almost left because I stupidly thought that New York would have a similar weather to the UK, and the UK was getting quite warm by the time I left. But it turns out no. But right, okay. And Holly, how are we doing with our 52 films in 52 weeks challenge?
We have made it to 21.
That's ahead of schedule, isn't it?
Still ahead of schedule. We're going to need. We've had a few slow weeks, so we're going to have to do some. We've managed one in the last couple of weeks. So we're going to have to do some hardcore catching up when cinema buddy Steph gets back from also New York.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. You can see if you can collar her and go to the cinema. I believe she will arrive later today, your time.
Oh yeah.
So we've then got a lot of things to watch if we're going to hit our 52 film target once more. But I'm positively, I'm quietly optimistic.
Yeah, because
we can do it.
Yeah, because I think the big film here that's been being advertised is The Amateur with Rami Malek in it, which.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure whether you've seen the trailers for that.
I have, yes.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. It's being released on IMAX over here. Like, they're advertising it as being released in IMAX, and I'm like, that doesn't look like an IMAX film. It looks like a lot of people talking in rooms.
No, there's definitely some bits that I could see being very IMAX-y.
I guess that's good. Yeah, but it just I was just kind of shocked when I heard that IMAX was like
not as much as the not IMAXy bits, I should add.
Yeah, because
it's leans away for me.
It's not Dune. It's not Dune. It's not Mission Impossible. Yeah, but anyway, sure.
Yeah, you know the sort of techno thing. With IMAX, is it digital? Is it digital or is it celluloid?
You can
either.
I think you can probably do either because Christopher Nolan loves IMAX and he also loves film.
Film, right? Okay, yeah.
So he's no one known to compromise on anything. So it's like this is what I want. I want film and I want an IMAX. So I think you can probably do either, both of those.
So I'm assuming it's the camera that is the IMAX.
Yeah, the IMAX camera. You have to film on an IMAX camera, and it's supposedly it's big and it's bulky and it's harder to use than. So, which is why people were really, really shocked when for Dunkirk, he attached an IMAX camera to an actual Spitfire, people they're like, how do you actually do that? Because that's actually an unwieldy thing to do. But it's like, he's Christopher Nolan, and what Chris wants, Chris gets. All right, cool. Okay, enough chatting. Let's talk about random stuff. Let's talk about what it is we've actually been seeing in the cinema. So let's go with you, Sharon.
I have seen The Penguin Lessons.
The Penguin Lessons, which I'd been mistakenly calling The Penguin Diaries. All right, cool. Yeah. Shaun.
Okay, we've still got a working man from last week.
Yes, we've got a working man from last week.
I haven't seen much because now the Pool Cinema, because I've been over Bournemouth, but the Pool Cinema is now a View Cinema. It's no longer Cineworld, so I can't go. I can't sort of sneak out of a Saturday night or a Friday night to watch anything. So that's all I've seen. I haven't been to cinema this week at all. So
I know exactly what you mean, because it's that whole thing when you have an unlimited card and then you feel cheated if you ever have to pay for an actual cinema ticket again. You feel you have an unlimited card and they're like, oh, I'm in a town that doesn't have the I have a Cineworld card, but I'm in a town that only has a View. It's like, well, I'm just not going to the cinema then. Why should I? I mean, I've already paid for the film. Why should I pay for the film twice? It's a bit like paying for streaming platforms. Like, I have the similar thing where I pay for a streaming platform, and therefore now I can't bring myself to pay to rent a film at home, because I'm like, why? I'm paying for the streaming platforms. All I have to do is wait.
21 films for, what's it been, £80 this year. I would say a streaming service is cost effective.
A streaming service is cost effective.
Not streaming service, rather cinema service is cost effective.
Cinema ticket. Yeah, the cinema unlimited card. It's 100% cost effective.
21
I looked at opening a Monzo bank account, because apparently you get a View free ticket every week or something.
You see, now before the Omniplex Cinema close to me had the unlimited cards, I wasn't the closest thing for me was a View, and the View was only $5.99 anyway. But then on the Lloyd's account, they did this whole thing where if you had a certain kind of Lloyd's account, you would get 6 free View tickets a year. So so I did use that, and then I found the unlimited card and never looked back. So just never looked back. All right, cool. Holly, what have you seen in the cinemas?
I have seen, which you have already reviewed, Death of a Unicorn.
Death of a Unicorn. All right, cool. Good. So, and I have seen a Minecraft movie, which is one of those things that is going to anger critics. It's going to anger critics to high heavens, because this film it's already a massive hit. It's only been out about a week. It has already made double its budget. So it's here to stay.
Minecraft 2, here we come.
Oh, 100%. I think they're already doing that. They're already figuring it out, and because of the nature of Minecraft, it lends itself to just never ending. So, okay, how about at home? What have we seen at home? Holly, let's start with you.
I have finished season 3 of The White Lotus.
The White Lotus. I have stuff to say about The White Lotus. But okay, cool. What else? Shaun, anything at home?
I've only revisited stuff that I've seen before and stuff on YouTube. I've gone a bit political lately, so I've been watching sort of a few travel logs, a few political things about Trump, and I'm quite into the shorts. So I tend to, like, if I go on YouTube,
or the shorts just all grab your attention.
Because you can flip them really, and so I've watched stuff about Vietnam vets talking about stuff, and I mean it's quite nice. So it suits my mind, you know what I mean? It shoots 500 different angles, short span, so I can just flip and think, that's quite good.
It's like, give me a minute. So, enough. Let's go. Enough.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I will not ask whether your politics has been flipped to the red or the blue side of things.
Wow, yeah.
All right, cool. Sharon, what have you seen at home?
No, I've had a bit of a failure this week. I lost my internet on Thursday, and it didn't come back till yesterday. The entire weekend, I had no broadband, and I haven't been able to watch anything.
All right, cool, good stuff. And I have seen Thelma, a film which I saw on the plane over. And I was kind of like, how do we talk about things we've seen on the plane? It's like, is that Netflix? That's in it. But I found a workaround, because this is actually available on Now TV and Sky Cinema in the UK. So as far as I'm concerned, it counts.
It counts, yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I think I did one, didn't I? I watched I think you let me do the whole series of 18 something or other.
I do not remember, but
1923.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, 1923.
Remember we did that because it was like.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
I remember. Yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah, it was.
That was a while because that was the first season of that. All right, cool. So let us kick off, and the eagle-eared of you may have realized that we have only had 2 things on the streaming platform, but don't worry, there will be one by the time we get to the end of this. I will have gone through my back catalog and I'll have pulled something else out that I have seen on streaming. But right, let us kick off with the big noise this week, and that is a Minecraft movie. Not the Minecraft movie, not Minecraft, but a Minecraft movie. And this is the latest bit of Hollywood thinking, okay, what already exists that is really, really popular? Let's make a film about that. And Minecraft is a video game, which I'm going to be honest with you, I'm at that age where I do not understand it. I don't actually get what Minecraft is, but it appears to be someone decided to make a video game that is kind of Lego, which is because you know the way Lego, people, if you want to say we're going to play with Lego doesn't have a plot. Lego is just, you take it, you build stuff, everything like that, like a creativity run wild. Minecraft is a bit like that. You go there, you start digging, and you build things up, and things grow, and blah, 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 blah. And so they decided to make a film about this, and they've done this in a very kind of almost, the structure of this film seems very throwback, in that they've said, okay, we're going to come up with some reasons for why these people are going to go into this world. And it starts off with this guy, with this prologue of a guy called Steve, and how he always wanted to work in the mines, but wasn't allowed as a kid. And he went and became a teacher. And after he became a teacher, he realized, no, I really want to be in the mines. He goes into the mines, he finds these 2 things, puts them together, a portal opens, and he goes into this world. And the whole thing about Minecraft is that everything is blocky. The graphics of Minecraft, the graphics are not going to win any awards whatsoever because everything is like a block. There's even a running joke in it where they call something an orb, but the orb is actually a cubed shape because in the Minecraft world everything is block. The sheep are blocky, the wolves are blocky, the zombies, the moon's blocky, the moon's a square, all that kind of stuff. And it's you see how he sort of builds up, and they come up with this whole thing where there's a little bit of a Lord of the Rings type group of people who are essentially orcs, and how he takes this orb and hides it in the real world. And then you go years later into the future, you meet the Jason Momoa character, you meet the Daniel Brooks character, and then there's all these general people who don't really add anything, to be honest with you. But you bring together this motley crew. Because of reasons, they end up in this blocky world. And then so ensues an adventure where they're going to go along, and then they have to do this, do that. And the whole thing is you're trying to get back home. That is it, pretty much. And I think, and when it comes to the plot of Minecraft, when it comes to the filmcraft of Minecraft or anything like that, I really don't think that there's much to write home about. I don't really think it's something that, it's not a film that's going to bring in like a whole bunch of like, convert people to Minecraft. So say, oh my God, it's not like the Lego movie where they did something a bit out there with it. And you sort of thought, or the Barbie movie where even if you didn't like Barbie, you still went online, there was like, you're like, oh my God, they did something really weird with that. This is just kind of what you expect. But what I think is the most important thing about it is the effect it might have. Because when I went to see this with my nephew at the cinema on a Saturday morning. And it was the most normal cinema thing I have been to for a while. Because the cinema was packed full of parents who'd been dragged along by their kids. There was a standing ovation at the end of the film.
Wow.
Yeah, standing ovation at the end of the film. And I was like, that's weird. With all these kids who'd grown up on Minecraft, who just loved the fact that Minecraft was on screen. And I guess haven't gotten critical to the point where all they know is like, oh wow, cool, Blocky Wolf, yay! And this film has been making such waves and creating such sort of trends that there are cinemas who are having to put up signs telling people to please don't throw popcorn at this bit. Please quieten it down. It's become an audience participation thing, a bit like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where at certain points, Rocky Horror Picture Show, people stand up and dance and all that. And people like The Room, and that's what what this film has done. So I think from the studio's point of view, they have made a win, but not because they've done anything creative. They've essentially taken a name that people recognize, and then people are doing the rest. Because the film, on its own, I do not think is that good. But I don't think it's that good. My nephew, who is 13, his response was, when we finished watching, was like, oh, that was better than I thought it would be. And yes, it is better than you thought it would be. I mean, the first half is. The later half of the film just devolves into all kinds of nonsense. But I think that the effect it's going to have is that it's going to be a shot in the arm for cinema, and then all of a sudden there's going to be more and more people going back to the cinema because they think, oh yeah, let's go watch a Minecraft movie, and also a younger audience is going to be going. And that bit, I think, is a good thing. Shaun, look like you had something to ask.
Yeah, I did ask. I was going to say, like, Pixels, you know, I mean, because I know you mentioned the Lego movie. Was it?
Yes.
Was it similar to Pixels?
I would put this more on the level of Pixels. Yes, it's more on the level of Pixels than it is on the level of something like the Lego movie. Mm-hmm. Like the storytelling, the in a way laziness.
Right.
Yeah, the storytelling in a way the laziness of putting things together and all that. The fact that they think, okay, if we put Jason Momoa Sharon, I know. I'm not sure if you've seen the trailers for this, or you've seen what
I have seen the trailers for this.
If you've seen Jason Momoa's hair or his get-up in this film, Sharon, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry they did that to you. I'm sorry.
I have seen him also in that crochet cardigan that he and so I think it can't be much worse than that.
Yeah. I think that was in Slumberland or something, wasn't it? Oh no. Was that in the Fast and Furious movie?
No, he's been doing some of the publicity junkets. He and Jack Black have been wearing matching crocheted cardigans.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, I see. Yeah, but yeah. But I mean, but he's supposed to be someone who's had his Arrested Development. He's stuck in the 80s, so it kind of works, but it's hard to look at. And quite frankly, there's a whole bit where they break the people up, and there's a section with essentially the women, Danielle Brooks and Emma Myers, might as well not be in this film. They like if you actually look at it and you think, okay, you've put a group together, but it is arguable that in a group of 5, 2.5 of them don't do anything, quite frankly. So yeah, but I would give this it's a high 2. I think this is a high 2 from a critical point of view. But honestly, this is a film that does not matter what people think about it. It's going to make all the money. It's going to make all the money. It's going to get people into cinemas, and the people who it was made for are going to love it. But if you're trying to look for a film that's critical, that's going to let you know anything about what's good about Minecraft, forget about it, because this is not it. You are not going to get that here. So I'm going to give 2 stars for the Minecraft movie, but I like the fact that it's going to bring people in. I almost like the fact that it is not a critical darling, that is still going to bring people in, even though I think it's not that good a film. So call me conflicted. Anyway, let's move on and let's go on to streaming and other things. And let us go with Holly. And Holly, let us talk to us about The White Lotus Season 3. And at some point, I apologize in advance for interrupting you to go on a White Lotus rant.
That is fine. You are forgiven in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, White Lotus is now in its 3rd incarnation, and it describes itself as the exploits of various guests and employees of a luxury resort over the span of a week. The first series was set in Hawaii, the second series was set in Sicily, and the third series is set in Thailand. All of them were filmed at Four Seasons resorts, and it's doing them all rather nicely together, as Four Seasons resorts seem to be doing White Lotus packages. So, all good for all concerned.
Yeah.
This is is made by, and I'm having to check his name because my mind
Mike White.
Mike White, thank you very much, who is renowned for the fact that he writes his series all by himself with no writer's room. So he has gone off and sat in a darkened room and come up with this 8-part series about...
I still think that the best thing Mike White has ever done is School of Rock.
Which is excellent. It is true. But is not in a remote and very exclusive Thai resort.
Yeah, that's true.
Of very annoying rich people.
Mm-hmm.
So the series is split out into a number of sort of overlapping parts. There are three best friends in their mid-40s, one of whom has become a sort of WASP in the south of the US. The other is one is a famous actress, and the other has been a successful lawyer. A family with the father played by
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs, who was rather marvelous. This mad wealthy finance individual from the Carolinas.
Yep.
His wife is played magically by Parker Posey, and they are there with their 3 children. One of whom is
Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Yes, also working in finance. A middle daughter who is sensible and mindful, and a younger son who is a people-pleasing younger son.
Yeah.
The delightful couple that is
Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Wood,
who are an absolute joy. She the younger girlfriend of this fabulously mad, very scruffy older man, and they are a delight to behold. Belinda Lindsay's is played by Natasha Rothwell, rather fabulously, who appears in series 1 as a member
from the first season. Yeah, she's one of the staff in the Hawaii resort, but who is
now visiting Thailand as a member of staff to seek inspiration.
Yeah.
And hanging around in the background is John Grease playing Greg Hunt, the former husband of the now deceased
Jennifer Coolidge character. Yeah.
Apologies to anybody who hasn't seen season 2. I'm afraid that is a spoiler. And off they all go in this madcapped experience on this island, all having ridiculous life experiences. And in the background, of course, some additional staffing elements with a very nice woman who works in the resort, played by Lisa of Blackpink.
Oh, yeah.
Who is rather marvellous. Amongst many others. It is 8 episodes of madness, of bizarre interactions, of inappropriate sexual encounters between various people, questionable decision making, very questionable decision making, moderately questionable decision making. Hilarity periodically ensues as you watch relationships come together and fall apart, sometimes within minutes, and you know at the beginning that somebody's going to die, because it A, it happens in all of them, and B, the series begins with the sound of gunshots.
Yeah.
But you don't know who it is.
That's the way every White Lotus season starts off that way. You know that there's a dead body, you just don't know who it is. So
we wait 8 episodes to find out who it is who has not made it out for the possibility of season 4. It is a most watchable series. I haven't liked it as much as I liked 1 and 2, but I don't see that as a bad thing, simply a thing. It's a very enjoyable, very silly watch. I watched the last 3 episodes yesterday, settled down on the sofa doing some knitting, as you do.
So how many stars would you give the White Lotus season 3?
I'm giving it a solid 3. It's not going to change the world. I would have done more for seasons 1 and 2. I really liked it, but it's not going to change the world. And as I say frequently, nor does it need to.
Okay.
Watch it. You will get great enjoyment from it, but don't expect to leave your viewing experience a different and better or worse individual. Because
okay. All right, cool. So I thought I would sort of like, silo off my White Lotus rant outside of your review, because I didn't think it would be fair. But the thing is, so I watched the White Lotus season 1, and this is something that, because people were raving about it, they were raving about saying 5 stars, best thing ever, and everything like that. And I remember watching this show and going, hang on, this is just a whole bunch of rich people being horrible and destroying the lives of everybody around them. That's it in a nutshell. And a very similar thing to one of the reasons why, House of Cards on Netflix with Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright. After a while, I did not enjoy watching that show anymore, because every season was just watching them get away with their horrible things and destroy the lives of quote unquote ordinary people around them. And the more I think about it, I'm like, people talk about it as being a satire of like, the sort of rich upper class and everything like that. But the fact that you said, for instance, that the Four Season Resorts is offering White Lotus packages tells me that the satire isn't landing. Nobody's looking at this going, "Oh, this is terrible." People are looking at this going, "I would love to be that." So I cannot. The last season I watched was season 1. I did not watch season 2. I haven't watched season 3, and that's because I just can't bring myself to watch something that doesn't seem to be anything much more than watching 8 episodes of really, really rich, mostly white people. Actually, I would think almost exclusively white people act terribly.
Slightly less white this series, but
okay, all right, cool.
Slightly less. I mean, good. It's incremental.
Yeah, but then it's like, watch them act terribly, destroy the lives of everybody around them, and then get away with it. And I'm just kind of like, I don't see how there's anything in there nothing in there screams to me, watch this. nothing in there screams to me 5 stars. So, is it anything more than that in a nutshell, Holly?
No, I think that's a very fair description.
All right.
This one had some more elements of self-reflection, where people actually realised things about themselves, and I don't remember that happening in previous series.
Well, definitely not in season 1.
But there was also, an interesting moment where you see somebody becoming arguably less self-aware because of money.
Mm-hmm.
So it is rich people being rich and reasonably obnoxious to greater or lesser extents, being unpleasant to people around them. But there are some not so rich people in this, at least, which is
okay. Thank you, Holly.
I don't think it will not change your. I don't think you would walk away with a different view from seeing it. Say it's an enjoyable watch, but
it's like, I think I'm gonna file this under sort of like, well, Merry White Lotus Day to all those who celebrate, but not for me. I do not begrudge you.
Merry White Lotus Day.
but I do not begrudge you your celebrations, but it's not for me.
All right, cool. I would be absolutely fascinated, by the by, to look at the demographics, the viewing demographics of it.
Yeah, I have my suspicions.
As do I.
So, all right, cool.
Someday we'll find out if we're right.
Yes, we will. All right, cool. And now we're going to go back to cinema. We're going to talk A Working Man. So, Shaun, this is you. This is you with this the film that I think last week we referred to as a Jason Statham movie, and you don't expect this. You don't expect the star rating to change from the first moment you see the poster. You go, yep, that's the kind of film it's going to be. So tell us, is that the kind of film it is?
It is the kind. Yeah, it's exactly the kind of film. So basically, this is General Statham fare. He's an ex-marine. He's got a young daughter who lives with the granddad. His wife's died, so he's got a few issues and all that. Anyway, he's got a job. He's a foreman on a construction site. He sort of looks after the there's a lot of Hispanic people that work for the firm, and he makes sure that if people come around threatening, he sort of sorts them out. Anyway, the family that employs him, his boss, and that, they've got a young daughter, who's an older teenage daughter, who goes out to a party one night and gets kidnapped, and they sort of don't know what to do, the family, so they ask him to find her like he would, so anyway, and then you get into him. It finds out that there's Russian mafia involved, you know what I mean? But not Russian not the sort of top people of the Russian mafia, but the Russian mafia, and there's like some younger members that are doing stuff on the side, this kidnapping, trafficking thing, which the main old boy mobsters, in the classical sense, they're not particularly happy about that. Anyway, so old Jason goes and he kills one of the main sort of bosses, trying to find out this information. So now he's got the whole Russian cartels and bad guys, which your archetypical, Russians that speak with a, So anyway. They've got
just one thing. Do you ever get the feeling that Jason Statham was possibly born in the wrong decade?
I think he probably was. So, and in this you've got, so he fights his way through stuff. He ends up trying to go undercover, pretending he's a dealer, so he can find out a little bit more. He ends up going with this biker gang, and so you basically get through all these different little scenarios where he ends up taking out 375 people.
Without breaking a sweat.
Without breaking a sweat,
much less a bone.
And he does happen to get sort of captured, so there's a little scene but he manages to escape, bit John Wicky like,
What?
There you go. Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, would you? Really?
Yeah, you shock me.
So, you should believe it. So yeah, I mean, it is what you would expect from a standard Statham movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite as good as The Beekeeper, but it's better than The Mechanic. So yeah. But on the whole, this is so the one thing. Remember I said to you last week, I got this a little bit confused with Novocaine.
With Novocaine, yes, yeah.
It could have been done, because I watched them in tandem. It could have been done so much easier. I've no idea why he went through half the Russian mafia and the bike gang to get to the couple that had done the kidnapping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through all that stuff, he could have found the original two that had done the kidnapping, if you like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like he went there, killed 500 people, and it was his next door neighbor the whole time. We could just ask them.
Yeah. Putting it in a nutshell, it's that type of thing. It was just a stage for action, a bit of blood. There were people trying to take out knives and stuff.
Although, Shaun, something you just said has made me think that somewhere you have a ranking of all of Jason Statham movies on your wall. Yes. And I would love to see it, because when you said, oh, not as good as The Beekeeper, definitely better than The Mechanic, I just want to see Shaun's chart of all Jason Statham movies.
See if you can have a quick guess what my top Statham film is. And I do really, really like this. It's a top film for me. Have a guess which one you think it is. I just really like it. It involves the Russian mafia and the Chinese mafia.
Oh, it's the one with the little girl.
Safe.
Yeah.
Safe. Yeah.
I can watch. I can't watch too many Statham films again.
I'll give you that. Safe is a good film. Safe is a good film.
Yeah, I really sort of like that, and it's not too over the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like. Oh yeah, I'm trying to think if there was the obligatory drone shot of the car. I think there might have been once, but there's a few car chases with the spinning wheels and the smoke and the.
Okay, Shaun, did you ever see the Michael Bay movie Ambulance?
Ambulance. I'm not sure if I've seen that. I don't know. I'm not sure if I've seen that.
Okay, cool. I want you to see that, and I wanted to come back and see if your head explodes when it comes to talking about drone shots, because you've added drone shots in movies to your irrational hatred list, along with Stanley Tucci. I keep forgetting. I know Stanley Tucci's at the top of it. I keep forgetting who else is. Oh, Michael Fassbender. Stanley Tucci, Michael Fassbender, and there's one other person whose face you just don't like.
I forget the guy's name, but he was in Everest and he played John Connor in one of the Terminators.
Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke. Another Jason, yeah.
Jason Clarke. So it's Stanley Tucci, Michael Fassbender, Jason Clarke, drones. These are Shaun's hit list. Shaun's Hollywood hit list. All right, cool.
So for a star rating, I'm sure you can guess. This is probably 3 stars, just standard Statham. I didn't dislike it. It is what it is.
Okay, cool. And now from Jason Statham, we go to a totally different type of action hero, and this is 91-year-old June Squibb in the film Thelma. Now, this is a film that was released, I think it was last year or something. But it's the basic premise of it is that you meet June Squibb, who plays Thelma. And Thelma is a 90-something-year-old woman who still lives by herself, has a grandson come around most of the time. Her grandson, I think the beginning of the film is all this whole thing about him teaching her how to use the internet. Like, this is how you scroll, this is what you click on, and all that kind of stuff. So you get the idea she's a 91-year-old who, like a lot of 91-year-olds, there's a whole modern stuff that sort of passed her by. And you get there that she loves her grandson. She hangs out with him a lot. He's a little bit of a slacker who he's a bit directionless, doesn't know where he's going in life. And one day she receives a phone call of somebody saying, hi, grandma. She's like, Danny, is that you? He's like, yeah, it's me. Oh, no, I hit this woman. She was pregnant. I hit her with a car. There's going to be a lawyer who's going to call you, and you just need to do what the lawyer says. And so she gets another phone call, and it's like a lawyer who says, oh, yeah, we need some money to actually help Danny out and everything like that. Could you wire 10,000? Could you send 10,000? We don't need it electronically. We need it in cash. Put it in cash, go to the post office, send it to this address. While she's going to the post office, she's trying to phone her daughter, her daughter who is her grandson's mum. And the daughter doesn't pick up the phone, trying to phone the boy's dad, nothing happens. And then she puts the money in the letterbox. And then obviously, as you can figure out, she's gotten scammed. She's gotten scammed because there's nothing wrong with her grandson. He was at home asleep and all that. But because she got scammed out of $10,000, and the police are like, we don't really know we can't really follow this up. There's nothing much you can do. And she hears them talking about her. There's this whole thing that where she has a hearing aid in. And there's a thing in the film where once she takes a hearing aid out, you don't really hear that much because you're hearing what she hears. And so she's hearing her family talking about her and saying, oh my God, we know that she can't live by herself anymore. This stuff is just going to happen. And she hates that because she's fiercely independent. She takes her hearing aids out. And the next day, she resolves that this is it. I'm going to get my money back. And so she starts off on what's she, a nonagerian quest to figure out to find out what the address is, how she's going to go about it. The first port, of course, that she goes to an old people's home where one of her friends, who's played by Richard Roundtree, Shaft himself, where he lives, and she realized that he has a scooter, like this souped up scooter and so she decides, you know what, I need that scooter because I can't walk around, and I need to get around. What city are they in? I can't remember, but she needs to get around. I think it's LA. She needs to get around LA to figure out who has taken this thing and get her money back. And so she steals his scooter. He decides to come along for the ride. So a lot of this film is these two sort of like, old people essentially just going around on this scooter trying to find who's taking her money. So she ends up going to another person's house to get a gun so she can go to this place to go find the people. And the film is styled like an action movie. Like even the music, there's bits where they do the music, and there's bits where they do even the titles are done like a 70s TV show along with the music and everything like that. There is a bit that I am convinced is a reference to, Starsky and Hutch. Whenever they would run to the car and then they would slide over the bonnet of the car and then go to the other side. There's a bit that's done that it's done and it's treated like this big stunt. And it's essentially a 91-year-old woman rolling on a bed to sort of try and get somewhere. And everything is fraught with danger because she could have a fall at any moment. So it's a very funny film. It's a very funny film, but also quite a poignant film about growing older and what it means to be growing older and what it means. Like there's conversations that she has with Ben, the Richard Roundtree character, and how he talks about, he's like, look, we think we can do everything that we used to be able to do, but we need to be honest with ourselves that we can't. Our time has passed. We cannot do what we were able to do. And she flat out refuses to accept that. And I don't want to talk about where it goes to or talk about whether she gets her money back or anything like that. But I thought this film was an absolute delight. I thought it was brilliant. I thought Gene Squibb was brilliant. I thought Fred Hetchinger, Clark Gregg, Parker Posey, her again. Parker Posey plays his mum. Parker Posey, Malcolm McDowell shows up.
Oh.
Yeah, Malcolm McDowell shows up in the film. I thought that it was wonderful. I thought it was brilliantly put together. It is small. It is about 90 minutes. It's great. I'm giving this film 4 out of 5. I think it's great. But I think if for no other reason, because June Squibb, she's just one of these screen presents that just makes you go, "Aww!" And now they've given her a gun. they've taken an grandma screen presence and given her a gun. So 4 out of 5. It is available on Sky Movies or Sky Cinema or Now TV. Excuse me. I would wholeheartedly recommend it. Go watch it. You will not be disappointed. And now we go back to cinema and we talk the Penguin Lessons. Sharon, it is your moment. You've been waiting for this. Tell us about the Penguin Lessons.
Yes, this is I saw this on preview. This is a film about a middle-aged man, Steve Coogan, who is a teacher, and he gets a job teaching English at a prestigious private boys' school in Argentina. Mm-hmm. Fine, but this is 1976, and he gets there basically just as there's a military coup. And because everything's a little bit uncomfortable, they close the school down for a week. And so he decides to take himself on holiday while everything settles down. And he goes to a neighbouring country, Uruguay. And whilst they're sort of trying to pick up ladies and, do a bit of smooching, walking on the beach one day, they encounter this oil slick and they find sort of, ensnared in this oil slick, a penguin that is still alive. So trying to impress this lady, he rescues this penguin and cleans it up, and thinking he's just gonna sort of put it back in the sea as soon as it's cleaned up again. But this penguin won't leave him, and it basically imprints itself on him and adopts him. And then everything he tries to do to get rid of this penguin fails. So he ends up taking this penguin back to the school with him. And you then see how I think events of his past, this sort of penguin is like a catalyst for change in his life, in the life of the school and the life of the people around him. And it makes him sort of, in some ways, you find out his backstory, and there's a reason why he's the way he is. He's a little bit of an indifferent teacher. He's not that engaged with his students. He's not that engaged with the school. And you get the feeling that he's a middle-aged man, but he's still somehow drifting through life. And you do find out why. And this penguin is just a catalyst for change. And you understand why. And he opens as part of this change, he starts to become a little bit more aware of the world around him. And the fact that in this coup, that it isn't just the big bods fighting it out and he's just allowed to get on with his life. It touches him personally when one of the people he's got to know in the school, one of the sort of people who's a member of the staff, becomes one of the disappeared, and he becomes engaged with the family of this young person, this young woman, and it sort of makes him more aware of the world around him and the sort of the political events in the time. So that's basically in a nutshell.
Yes.
I think this is one of those films that it would so easily become sentimental and mawkish.
Yes.
Because as soon as you pop a penguin in anything, you go, "Oh, it's a penguin," and they are just inherently just like, "Oh."
Yes, I was going to say, especially because the plot of this film sounds superficially similar to Mr. Popper's Penguins, which was a Jim Carrey vehicle.
Yeah, well, he ends up with so it's not at all. I think it just steers that fine line between sentiment and sort of empathy and sort of real compassion, and I think it steered that line really well, because it's so easy when you have any animal involved that it just becomes a device. And I think this. Yeah, I thought they just did it very well. It's based on a memoir, apparently inspired by true events. So you don't know how much of it is actually true.
Yeah.
But it's inspired by a memoir that this gentleman wrote about his experiences in Argentina during the coup, and the fact that he did end up adopting this penguin. But so I thought it was done really sympathetically. All the characters were on point. Steve Coogan, he can sort of, I think it's because he's a comedian, he can be almost like transformative, can't he? He can.
Yeah.
You lose Steve Coogan because we don't really know him. We know him through the characters that he's played.
Yeah.
So you see him as this. You can see how this man is sort of disillusioned, and he has been drifting through life. Jonathan Pryce, he's the headmaster of this English boys' school. It's basically an English boys' school in Argentina.
Yeah.
So based on a classic education where they teach English, they teach these sciences, they teach sort of art, Latin, and the languages and stuff. So they want to give these boys like an English education, but it's in the middle of Argentina in a military coup. There's things to play there, and a lot of the people who work in the school, the janitorial staff and some of the people who work in sort of like the groundskeepers and some of the delivery people are all people who live there. They're like the locals, and how their lives are so different. And you see the contrast between their lives and the lives of the people whose children go to this school of privilege, and the teachers who live in this sort of a privileged environment.
I'm getting a real weird blender mix of films here, because I'm getting like an octopus teacher mixed with the holdovers, mixed in with I'm Still Here.
Yeah. There's probably elements of all of those things, because it's sort of taking, and looking at a serious, adding a light-hearted touch to a serious, sort of serious instance, and doing it with real compassion and sort of pathos. So I actually really enjoyed it, and more than I thought it'd be. I thought it was going to just be more comedic than it was. I think there's definitely humour in it.
Yeah.
But it took for me, because I keep using the same word, but it did steer clear of that sentimentality that will make it sickly. And so for me, it avoided that. But I thought it had real sort of compassion, real emotion. And there's some scenes in it, I was just like, oh yeah, I felt that. So no, I really liked it. So I would give that a 4-star from me. I actually really enjoyed it.
4-star. Yeah, it does. It went from the poster and not from the poster, from the trailer and all that. It looked little bit like Steve Coogan in Philomena mode.
Yes, I think it's probably more in that sort of. Yeah, there's humour in it, but it's also underlying it. There's heart.
Okay, Philomena. Never mind.
Philomena.
Philomena. All right. Okay, cool. And now we go to the final thing. The thing that I promised I would pull out of the air or pull out of some bodily orifice to talk about. And this is a film that I watched a while back because we never reviewed it. It was quite well reviewed. It was a critical darling. It was critical darling at the Cannes Film Festival. It's a film called The Worst Person in the World. And it was I found this on Channel 4, channel4.com. And Holly, out of all of us, I think you would love this film. I think you would love this film. I think Sharon, I don't know. Shaun, it's a bit of a offense because there's bits of this film that make me feel that it's a little bit like, your 70s American independent cinema heyday, and there's bits of it where I just feel maybe it's a bit too millennial for Shaun's liking. But the whole idea behind this film is it's a Norwegian movie, so it's a Norwegian movie in Norwegian, and it's set in Oslo. And it's all about this woman who you meet. And when you first meet her, she's obviously very bright because she decides, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to be a doctor. So she stops everything that she's doing. She goes to the university. She starts being a doctor. She's being top of a class and all that kind of stuff. But then she finds that she isn't fulfilled with it. She's like, no, this isn't fulfilling me. I need to go do something else. And oh, you know what I want to be? I want to be a photographer. That's it. That's what my true calling is. And so she goes there and her mom's like, what? Okay, let's help you. So she quits medical school to go become a photographer and all that because this is what she's convinced is her calling. And then what comes up is that then she meets this older artist at a party, and then what comes up is all these sort of vignettes of her life and of different stages of her life of this woman. Or sort of like a girl, shall we say, becoming a woman, and what happens over almost like the next 10 years of her life. It isn't told in any sort of like usual narrative structure. It's kind of like, we're going to drop in here and then this is going to happen. Then we're going to drop in here, this is going to happen. We're going to drop in here, this is going to happen. And and there's like this whole section where it's about she meets this guy at a party that she goes to while she is with somebody else. She's with somebody else, he's with somebody else, and they're playing this game to see, okay, what is cheating and what isn't cheating, and how close can we get to the point of cheating without it actually being cheating? And there's a beautifully shot sequence which it involves them blowing smoke, like cigarette smoke, into and out of each other's mouths. I'm not a big fan of smoking. I do not condone it, but it is a beautifully shot sequence. I'll give them that. There is a bit of magic realism where there is the showstopper of the movie is where everything stops, and she runs across Oslo to just go and steal a kiss from somebody. And when I say everything stops, like she runs out of a house, everybody is frozen. So everybody's frozen. She runs across what seems to be like the Oslo version of Piccadilly Circus or something like that, and everybody's frozen. And she runs through the whole city frozen, goes there, steals a kiss, and runs all the way back. So there are things like that, but there was a bit of me that was watching it going, okay, but what is the story here? What are we going here? What are we going here for? Like, what are you trying to tell me? Where is the narrative drive? And I'm not entirely sure that there is a narrative drive, but it's one of these films that by the end, you do end up feeling something. You do end up feeling something, like whether it's about the fleetingness of youth, or like, how you might waste your younger years or anything like that, or how you never realize what you've got until it's gone. And I think it will be different for everybody. It stars Shaun. You like her, even though you might not know her name. Her name is Renate Reinsve. Reinsfair. She was in was it A Different Man?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, she was the neighbor in The Different Man, the one who was making the show. And I think this was really like her being announced to the world outside of Norway, as in, oh, everybody check this woman out. Yeah, and I think it's a good performance. I think it's a committed performance. I feel like the people who were making the film, they had like the very particular thing that they had to say, and about the kind of people that, I mean, Holly, we didn't record this when you were complaining about certain people and how their work styles, but I feel like it has something to say about that generation. So watching this film might either help you understand that generation a bit more, or just truly hate them even more. But I think all in all, I think that you would actually quite like it. It's kind of like it's the sort of arty, it's the sort of arty farty, not nebulous, but doesn't really it's a bit ethereal. It's a bit ethereal, and
Right.
and I think it works. All in all, I think it works. I think different people will give it different star ratings. I'm going to give it a 3. It's a high 3. It's a high 3, but it's because I can see what it's doing and all that, but I don't have a particular kind of connection to it, if you get what I mean. I'm not watching going, oh, wow, this is great. I'm like, I can see that this is great, which is a totally different thing. So for me, it's a 3 out of 5. And that is it. So yeah, Holly, go watch it. I'd like to see what you think.
Cool.
And all that is left to do is to ask, who do you think has won this week?
I was trying to work this one. I mean, Sharon got
I could almost see you in the background, Shaun, as we were going along, trying to do like the mental arithmetic, going, okay, I'll put that there,
So
carry the
Sharon,
one.
Sharon got a 4. You gave a 4. The rest were 3s. So
And those
And
are still
remember what you
the
gave.
Minecraft movie was a 2.
Minecraft movie was 2.
I think it's a tie.
I think it's a tie. I think those my high and Tosin's low means I think they balance each other out.
I concur. I concur.
You're oh so close. It is almost a tie, because cinema has a average of 3 and Netflix and Friends has an average of 3.3. So yeah, we had a 3, a 4, and a 3 on Netflix and Friends, and we had a 2, a 3, and a 4 on cinema. So I think all in all, it's close enough. It's close enough to be a tie. It's close enough to be a tie. I mean, we're not VAR. We're not gonna call people out because there's a toe that crossed the line. So
I always think of when it's a draw. Oh, let's call it a draw. I think it's Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's one Monty Python thing where
yes, it's the Black Knight.
Yeah, he loses both his arms.
The duel against the Black Knight. Yes. What is that? It's a flesh wound.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's it. And until next week, when I do not have a clue what is out in the cinema or what I shall be watching.
There's that one you were talking about with Rami.
Oh, The Amateur.
The Amateur. But not next week, but the Easter weekend. There is so much coming out. I mean, you've got what did I say? You've got the Michael B. Jordan movie, Sinners, is it?
Sinners, yes, Sinners.
That's out, I think. I really want to see.
You've got something war that looks
Warfare.
Warfare. That looks pretty interesting. I think
they're both out on the same day on the island because I've already checked their release dates.
Right. So yeah, there's a couple of things, but I'll be away. Typical, isn't it? This Easter weekend when it opens, I'm going to be over my mum's in Bournemouth, so I'm not going to be able to. I might have to.
I was about to say you will be somewhere with a Cineworld close by. Is that how
it was? It always was. The pool one was perfect, and it used to show. I saw Late Night with the Devil and all sorts of things.
Yeah,
bit of a shame, but never mind.
Okay, I think that's what we're going to start doing. And in addition to Shaun's Jason Statham rating, we're just going to start going on holiday to places that only have the kind of cinema that we have on Unlimited cards.
Yeah.
So because I will be going on holiday a lot to the Republic of Ireland, as it is, because my Omniplex is an Irish company and has a lot more cinemas in Ireland than they do in England. So. Right, cool. So until then, it is just find us online. Find us online wherever you find. Well, Netflix vs. Cinema on YouTube, Netflix vs. Cinema on Twitter, and please leave us a rating if you're listening to this. Tell us what you think. Get in touch with us. Get in touch with us on YouTube. That's actually been quite good. I've seen different people either liking what we've said or just commenting on it or telling us that we do not know what we're talking about. Yeah. We welcome all sorts. And until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Thank you ever so much for joining us.